Hi, welcome to my channel Semper Astra. My name is Maggie, and in today's video I will be talking about tips that may be helpful to blind people in the process of looking for a property to buy or to rent. I also hope that this video will be helpful to people who work in estates and who are organizing viewings of properties to blind customers. So I'm currently in a flat that is for sale, and I will be sharing my experiences whilst walking around this property and discussing various details. So we access the main door of this property from the street, and we walk up several steps, and then we enter the porch. In the porch we have a door on the right hand side, and this door leads to the flat that is on the first floor. And then on the left hand side we have a door that leads to the ground floor flat, and I'm entering this flat now. I'm closing the main door to the flat behind me, and when I stand with my back to the main door to the flat, directly on my right hand side I have a wall that leads down the hall further into property, but we will start viewing this property from the front room. So I'm making sharp left turn, and now I am turning around and I am facing the wall on which there is the entrance to this room. So as a totally blind person, to have a good idea about the size and shape of every room and entire property, I walk along all of the walls and I trail my hand across the wall, window, and all of the kind of turns and little maybe coves that I may find. So at the moment I am touching the door frame and I am walking to the right. I am trailing my fingers along the wall, and I have found the corner, and I can already tell that this space is not too big here between the door frame and the corner. So probably we could place here some small furniture or some medium-sized furniture. Now I turn right, and again I start from the corner and I move to the right with my hand, and I already found the window frame. So I can tell that there is not much space at all here on this kind of area of the wall. And now I am kind of touching the windowsill, and for the privacy, the person who lives here installed this kind of matte sticker. Because the flat is on the upper ground floor, it is easy even accidentally to look into the property, so this is helping with privacy. And now I'm touching here the end of that windowsill, and here there is a wall, so I know that here the window ends and there is a wall. So in front of the wall, that wall, there is a table and some chairs. I walk around them. It is actually nice to have it here because I can see how big table you can fit here and how it feels in relationship to entire room. Okay, so I walk around the chair here, and I can again touch the wall, and I can touch another window. So there is basically a window, wall, and another window. And as a totally blind person with no light perception, I would never know that there are two windows here, right? So carefully exploring whole area is really important. And also we may plan to put some other furniture against this wall, so it is important how wide is this space in between the windows. Okay, so now I'm touching again the windowsill. I'm at the end of this window, and I am now touching another corner of that room. And now I am facing the wall, which is facing the entrance to this room. And I will now talk about some experiences that I had in the past. So now I'm again touching the corner, trailing my hand against the wall here, along the wall here, and I found a chimney breast here. And I never had experiences of living in the house where there would be functioning fireplaces or log burners, and I never in the past lived in a property with the chimney breast. So when I was viewing properties in the past, I was never paying any attention to the shape of the wall, and I just assumed that all walls would be straight. And when in the room we have existing fireplace, then it is more obvious and probably we will notice it more easier. But in some rooms we still have chimney breast and we don't have existing fireplace there. So it is always important to explore the shape of every wall. And here we have log burner, and naturally it is a really nice thing, so nobody would want to put furniture against this. But if there was a chimney breast without an actual fireplace here, you may plan to put some furniture against the chimney breast. So it is just important to be aware of how wide is the cove leading from the corner to the chimney breast, how wide is the chimney breast, and how wide is this cove on the right hand side of the chimney breast. So basically there is a chimney breast, and on both sides there are like little coves, and it is important to be aware of how wide this space is here to be able to plan for how we are going to use it space wise. So now I am touching another corner in this room, and now I am walking along the wall which is opposite the windows, and here is some sofa. This wall seems to be straight, so no more complications here, no more chimney breasts. And now here there is like a corner sofa, and now I'm again touching the wall which is on which there is an entrance door to this room. So again, in this case, the door is in the middle of the wall, so we can put some furniture on the left-hand side from the door and on the right-hand side from the door. But in some rooms, you can have the door placed closer to the corner, which will change a lot in terms of how you are going to use the space. Also, talking about this, I want to talk about another experience that I had. So I just want to mention is that we should never ever rely on our perception of the space and of how big is the space. So in the past I had a situation when in the morning I viewed very, very tiny flat, and then I viewed slightly bigger flat. So I believe that the slightly bigger flat is the size that I wanted, but in the end I rented the flat that was much smaller than I hoped it would be. So always please ask about the dimension of whole property and each room. And in England, on many occasions, people are describing the size of the property, talking about how many bedrooms the property has. So sometimes we have to request the size given in square meters or in square feet. So now I am back in the hallway. Again, I am standing with the back to the main door, and I am now walking further into the property along the hallway. I'm trailing with my fingers the wall on the left hand side, and I turn left and I am standing at the doorway to the bedroom. And in this case, standing in the doorway, I already can feel the wall on the left hand side. So you see in this room, the door is located more in the corner of the room, right? Which will again change how we will use the space here. Now I am trailing the wall with my fingers that is on the left hand side, and I am with my back to the entrance to this room. Now I have reached the corner here, and now I am touching the wall which is opposite the door. I am walking to the right, and I found here another chimney breast. So although in this room there is no working fireplace, we still have a chimney breast. And the person who lived here before placed their bed against this chimney breast. And in the two little coves around chimney breast, so on the left and right hand side, they put some nightstands. But if you wanted, you could of course use this space in a different way. But again, it is important to be aware of how wide is the cove on the left hand side to the chimney breast, how wide is the chimney breast, and how much space we have to the right of the chimney breast. Now I turn right again because there is another corner here, and now I am trailing the wall again, and I find again the window frame. But here the space between the corner and the window frame is much larger than in the previous room, and this is because in this room, although the room is similar size, there is only one window. So we have quite a lot of space to the left on the of the window. Now I'm touching the window sill here, and there is also quite a lot of space to the right hand side of the window. So again, as a totally blind person, I wouldn't be aware of the fact that there is only one window here if I didn't touch it, if people didn't tell me about this. So again, because there's just one window here and the window is not too wide, I think that the width is kind of similar to the windows in the previous room. There is more spaces against the wall, and now I'm turning right again, and now I'm facing the wall on which there is a door. And here we have a little bureau, or kind of like a, I don't know, vanity stand. Here we have a wardrobe, so again it is nice to see how big furniture we could fit here. And here there is a door, as I say, close to the corner of this room. So again, because the door is located differently, we can use the space slightly differently here. Now I am again in the hallway. I am again trailing with my hand the left wall, and I am walking along the hallway, and I'm still trailing the wall, and now I can feel that the flooring changes. So I was walking on the carpet before, now I am standing on a hard floor. It is some sort of tiles here. I continue to follow the wall with my hand. I can feel the window, and I can feel again the wall and the end of this place. This is the kitchen, by the way, and here is the door. We have, because this kitchen is kind of like walk-through kitchen, we have door here, and we have also the door on this side of the kitchen. So basically, because this is the walk-through kitchen, we have the first door as we walk in, and then we have a second door as we walk out of this kitchen. So opposite the window, there is kitchen furniture, and I will talk a little bit about this. So when I was moving into one of my previous flats, I assumed that every flat has cupboards hanging on the wall. And when I moved in, I was very disappointed when I noticed that there is only one shelf in that flat, and I had to put all of my kitchen tools into cupboards below the counter. And it's also important to check how the space below the counter is used. Here, for instance, is wine cooler. I would rather have additional cupboard, but remember, everybody has different values. So as long as we know and we make the choices knowing what we choose, this is fine. And now I want to talk about kitchen appliances. So especially when you're renting the flat and you're unable to change anything, it is very important to check accessibility of all of the tools that you will be using. So here I'm touching the stove, and in this case, the stoves can be easily adapted for the needs of the blind person. So you can't feel the hobs here, but at least I can cope with this easily. However, in one of my previous flats, the whole control panel was tactile, and it was sadly too difficult for me to learn. So I had to buy like a camping electric stove, and I couldn't use it at all. But here we have proper knobs, so it would be very easy to label them with special tactile bumpons and make it totally accessible. And it is very similar with the oven as well. So this oven and this stove can be easily made accessible, but not all of the appliances that easy to adapt. Now I am walking, as I mentioned, this kitchen is the walk-through kitchen, so I'm walking through this, and now I arrived at the little hallway that is beyond the kitchen, and on the left-hand side we have a patio here. We are not going to go there today, and I am just looking at the wall in front of me. I'm touching the wall in front of me, so again, not to confuse anybody. My back is still to the front door of this property. I have the patio door on my left-hand side, wall on my right-hand side, and in front of me, at the slight angle, we have an entrance to a bathroom here. And I just want to mention this because the fact that it is at slight angle was very confusing for me, and it took me quite a while to like work out the layout of the bathroom because of it. So because of this angle, to find the toilet, when you enter the bathroom, you have to take really sharp right. And again, when you're viewing property, check the quality of all of the appliances. For instance, here is the kind of shelves above the toilet. Again, I didn't notice them in the first place. Also check the quality size of the sink. So in one of my previous properties, I rented the property that had such a small sink that I could only use it for washing my hands, and I had to brush my teeth at the kitchen sink, which was really far from ideal, but there was no way this sink was big enough to brush like my teeth over it. And here there is a mirror, but again, in the past I have rented a flat which didn't have a mirror, which to me wasn't that important, but I wanted to have a mirror for my guests, of course, right? And here there is a really nice walk-in shower, and it has very solid and long glass screen, so it is protected from, the bathroom is protected from splashing water over it. And again, I would recommend checking the quality of the shower head, because for instance, once I viewed the flat and my friend said, no, it looks perfect, but you know, the shower head and everything fallen in my hands. And again, it is, for instance, here is a good example. Here, on the kind of level of my shoulders, there is a windowsill and a window, but because it is high up, if somebody didn't point it to me, not necessarily I would have noticed that window here. So again, it is good to check everything in a lot of details. Here, when we walk out from the shower, there is a like a radiator, we can put towels on it. And I just want to point out that this is my another, like I would say, tip. If only possible, give yourself as much time as you can to view the property, because places that have a little bit like unusual shape may be very confusing, and we may think that we understand the space, but we may imagine it differently than it actually is. And once I viewed the property, which was like a part of the like tower, so the flats had a shape of pizza slices. And to be honest, this space was so confusing for me that in the end I couldn't like imagine how would I arrange my furniture there, and I just gave up on renting this property. When viewing the property, also it is very important to invite as many of our friends to come with us and view it. And I always invite my friends who have different experiences, different expectations, different tastes. And I ask my sighted friends about the aesthetic feel of the place, how much daylight comes to individual rooms, what is the overall decor, is there any signs of leakage, is there any signs of mold, what is the condition of the floor, what is the condition of the carpets, what is the condition of the walls. And you know, of course, we can look at the property with our touch. I always use my smell, because I can feel the smell of the dampness very acutely, but there are things that we are going to miss. So I always like asking as many of my friends as I can. And sometimes when I'm unable to invite my friends for a viewing, then I try to record a video or take some photos and send it to them and ask them for their advice. Okay, so now I'm back in the hallway, and we were looking at the rooms, but opposite the rooms, on the opposite wall, there is some storage space. So here I am entering first storage space, which is actually built, it is kind of enclosed. So it has a wall, it is totally separated from the hall. I'm not sure about whether the light is here on or off, but here we have some water tank, there is a washing machine, and there is a fridge and freezer, and I always check the depth of the place like that. I check how wide it is, and I always check how else I could use this space. And for instance, I can feel the smell of the dampness. So I would never ever commit to buying this property or renting it before I would check, is it just temporary problem or is it a permanent problem, and how it could be resolved. So this is very important detail to double check. And here under the staircase there is another storage space. At the moment it is sort of open, so there is no door. Whatever we put here, that will be on a display sort of, and because it is under the staircase, the kind of ceiling is skewed here, so not all of that space will be equally useful. So again, I like asking for advice. How could I use this, and how could I make it most useful to me, and how could I maybe kind of improve it or whatever. So we have seen now entire flat, but I just wanted to add several things. So whenever we buy a property or we rent a property, there is always a lot of paperwork, and please don't cut any corners with that. Always ask that all of the paperwork is fully accessible to you and that you can read it all, and read entire paperwork line by line, because there may be many stipulations. Some flats are leaseholders, some are freeholders. In some places where you buy, you may be able to rent it out to somebody else. In some places you are not. It is the same with renting. Again, there are many stipulations, so it is very important that all of the paperwork is made accessible for you. Also, check functionality of everything that is like permanent in the flat. So for instance, I will give you one example. Once in the past, I rent a flat, and then I discovered that the kitchen sink was blocked, but it wasn't blocked in a way that you could easily repair it. Unfortunately, the person that was decorating the flat poured all of the remaining plaster down the pipes. All of the pipes were blocked, and to resolve this problem, the owner would have to replace all of the pipes. It wasn't doable, and I had to, in the end, move out from this place because I just couldn't cope with it. So again, if only possible, check things like that. And also, as a person who could see before, I am comfortable with like using pen. So I always ask my friends to test my understanding of the place. And to do that, I take pen and paper and I'm trying to draw a map of the space that I viewed. And it doesn't have to be ideal. You don't have to have a good understanding of drawings. You can also do it verbally, but ask somebody to test you to ensure that you understand the space that you viewed correctly, and that your vision of the space, how you understand it, is exactly what it is, because it is very easy to get confused when we are quickly rushing to view the property. And that is a very, very important thing. Of course, the location as well is important. I like living close to all of the places that are important to me. But this is totally different topic, I would say. So I just wanted to say that I hope that this video was useful to you, and I wish you all the best on your journey of finding the perfect property for you to buy or to rent, and see you soon in one of my next videos. Bye bye.